All right, today we're going to be doing something a little different. We got ourselves 2 theater releases to review today. We're going to start out with Kick-Ass, go to Date Night, and then we're going to do The Expendables with Sylvester Stallone and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. So let's start out with the video release of Kick-Ass. Here's a clip for that.
Come on, be honest with yourself. At some point in our lives, we all wanted to be a superhero. That's not me, by the way. That's some Armenian guy with a history of mental health problems. That's me. How come nobody's ever tried to be a superhero?
Dude, if anybody did it in real life, they'd get their ass kicked. They'd be dead in like a day.
Comic books had it wrong. You don't need a power to be a superhero. Oh yeah? Didn't see that, did ya? Who are you? I'm Kick-Ass.
So you want to play?
Sweet. So Kick-Ass is a superhero movie directed by Matt Vaughn, who did Stardust, which was really weird because Stardust was very chick flick and this was very not.
He also did Layer Cake.
Layer Cake. See, I saw him. He did a lot of production with Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, he comes from the Guy Ritchie school of thought, the British gangster stuff.
Which is good. I like. So it's a superhero movie. It's about the everyday man deciding to do the good thing and start fighting crime. A teenager decides he's going to be a superhero. He's just read too many comics and he's decided it's time.
He just has to do it.
And he calls himself Kick-Ass, and as the preview shows, his name should be Ass Kick. He doesn't do so well, but there's a duo in there by Nicolas Cage and
Chloe
Moretz, who are ridiculously awesome at being superheroes. They've got machine guns and all this, but they're going up against a crime lord played by Mark Strong, who is from Sherlock Holmes and his other movie, Stardust.
Yeah.
But a really good guy at playing evil.
Yeah.
But he is...
And the nicest guy. If you watch interviews from him, he couldn't be more polite.
Interesting. One of those weird... But so he's started an empire, a mobster empire, and they decide to team up and go against him. And his son decides to get involved in it all, and it just becomes...
Played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse, otherwise known as McLovin.
I don't think he'll ever live that down.
No.
Which is good.
Which is fine, yeah.
I think he's fine with it. But so it just becomes a horribly twisted, violent tale of what happens when real people try to be superheroes. Now, this movie was an excellent movie. It is unexpectedly excellent. You go to it thinking you're going to get, something like a superhero movie, kind of a spoof, but more like a little bit better done. And instead, you got like ridiculously good Zombieland, kind of funny. Well thought out guys who obviously know the industry and are totally spoofing it in wonderful ways. And it is violent.
So violent.
So very violent, and it makes me very happy. Blood everywhere. Little 8-year-old girls cursing like crazy. It has everything I love about a good movie.
Yeah.
So I definitely like this one, but I wasn't quite as enthralled as I was Zombieland. I don't know. There's something about it that I was just like, not quite A-worthy. So I gave it a B+.
B+. Well, I gave it an A-, so pretty close. And the only detractor for me, as far as the movie goes, because I think it's pretty much all around the board great, but my only real complaint is the love story aspect of it. They have to bring in a girl, they have to have a kind of a romance, and it feels a little contrived, and it kind of, I wish it wasn't there, basically, because it doesn't really fit the tone of the rest of the movie, which is just relentlessly balls to the wall, and I loved it. It is, it's kind of a little bit of Superbad meets a little bit of Spider-Man meets like Hard Boiled or something like that. Some old like John Woo crazy, martial arts thing. And what I like about the movie is it's very funny all the way through. Hilarious, hilarious, hilarious. But it also delivers on the action. Like, you get just as much out of it as an action film as you do as a comedy or as a spoof or whatever. And it's based on a comic book written by Mark Millar, who also wrote the comic for Wanted and a few other of those kind of things. So he kind of has a certain sort of attitude, and I like that the movie was really able to augment his kind of cynical attitude toward things in movie format. And I like that the movie didn't try too hard to have a lot of named stars. You know, like, they could have easily thrown a Michael Cera or a Jesse Eisenberg, or even though he's not really named yet. But you know what I mean? Just somebody with a bigger, you know, maybe even Ashton Kutcher or something like that in the kick-ass role. But instead they have this kid, Aaron Johnson, who's a British actor, and muffles his accent quite well, I might say, because I didn't know till later.
He definitely pulls off a squeaky American voice.
Yeah, the dweeby kind of thing. And it's just great. It's not for kids.
No.
That's fine. Unless you're a cool parent, you'll let your kids watch this. But if not, they'll probably find some way to watch it at their friend's house, which is the type of movie it belongs. Didn't do so well in theater, which is upsetting. But it's definitely going to be like a major cult thing. I think it already has.
Definitely.
It's found its audience on video.
Until they ruin it with the sequel.
Oddly
enough, called Balls to the Wall.
Yeah. You know, I didn't even think that. But I have high hopes for the sequel if it's still done by Matthew Vaughn.
All right, then I will hope so too.
All right, we are going to move on now to Date Night.